very pleasant good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Morning Briefing. I'm Jeff DeForest, along with a very dapper and handsome-looking Mike Lubitz. Are you shooting Botox or something, Lubie? What's going on? You
Never.
trying to enhance your public image because we're having such success here with NoFilter.net and Caffeine TV and various other platforms that are out there where we perform. But happy to be with you guys. Is there a secret? Do you want to unveil anything? Do you want to reveal anything today on the show about
Wife's
your
been
physical
leaving me
appearance?
alone. My wife's been leaving me alone.
Okay, sounds good. Your volume's still a little bit low here. I don't know if we want to match up a little bit, but I'm hearing myself very loudly compared to you. Hey, a lot of stuff happening. I mean, we could say this every day, right? Is it fair to say that you could start every broadcast with something along the lines of, boy, what a game last night? A lot of stuff happening. I've told the story many times about a friend of mine had no idea what was going on in the world of sports. He used to drive 90 miles to the radio station from his home in Isla Mirada, Florida, up to a place called Carroll City, where we had a wonderful studio. Not exactly the most glamorous of neighborhoods, but nonetheless, we had a beautiful spot there. This guy would come zooming into the lock gate, and just at the last second, about 5:59:50, about 10 seconds before he had to go on the air, he would come in, grab a bunch of wire copy, have no idea what happened last night in any sporting event, and start the sportscast by saying, boy, what a game last night. You could say that almost every day, right? Because there's always something happening, especially now. You got the precipice, the beginning of March Madness, beginning to germinate a little bit. You've got some teams that have already qualified for the tournament. You have various bloodbaths taking place in the major conference tournaments that are underway. You have our boy Rick Pitino. It looked like he punched his ticket to the big dance, Lubie. Did you see that? Blowout of Seton Hall yesterday. That was a game. A lot of the bracketologists, Joe Lunardi was ready to blow a gasket over this ball game. He couldn't believe it because you're either going to be in the first four in, the last four out, the third four out. You're going to be in some quadrant that isn't necessarily good if you lose this game, which Seton Hall did. Now they're, I think, in the last four out. And St. John's looks like it punched its ticket under Rick Pitino first year. That was one of their stated goals. I mean, a very tangible, achievable accomplishment. Didn't look like it was going to happen when they were losing 8 out of 10. They've rattled off 6 wins in a row now. So that was spectacular. You had any number of buzzer beaters. But I was attracted yesterday to one of my favorite events. I was watching early round action, Lubie, of the Tournament Players Championship because who isn't infatuated with hole number 17? I don't care if you never even picked up a golf club. I mean, you're looking at the circumstances that have to be navigated and negotiated and be dealt with there at 17, 127-yard hole, something like that. Lubie should be a little nothing pitch shot. These guys are so good at it. You would think that they would have an enormous number of holes in one. They didn't have one yesterday. But they also have an enormous number, usually, of balls in the water. And it's cruel. It's particularly cruel. It wouldn't be surprising if a guy, after hitting a shot and he finally lands on the green at 17 at the Sawgrass Tournament Players Championship at Sawgrass, Jacksonville, Florida, basically, is where it's at. Ponte Vedra, if you want to be technical about it. Should they not just hit the shot, Louis, and then grab a flask out of their inside pocket and just shoot down a shot of the stiffest booze that you can get your even moonshine would be appropriate there, right? Wouldn't that be it? Whoosh. Oh, there it is, perfect trajectory and safely on the green. And the guy just takes a shot at DeLauded after that. That has to be extremely nerve-wracking, Libby. What do you think, even for the pros? Because I saw a guy yesterday, and this has happened before many times, hits a shot probably 10 feet over the pin. Perfect. 10 feet over the pin with a little bit of backspin on it, Louie. So it stops. You know, you get that reaction where the camera's following the ball. It hits the green. It makes that little divot in the green, just a small mark. And then all of a sudden, woo, it starts to spin backwards. And it just misses the stick. Doesn't go in the hole, but continues to roll and rolls right off the green into the water. Now that is cruel and unusual, is it not? I mean, imagine you hit the green and you end up in the water and now you're lying 3 on the tee. Forget about that. You don't want to deal with that. But they had an assault on par yesterday. Unbelievable round. Rory McIlroy was leading the pack. I believe he's in a dead heat for the top spot at 7 under par. He had 10 birdies, a record on the Sawgrass course there, the Tournament Players Championship. And the leaderboard, you talk about the proverbial logjam atop the leaderboard. It is unreal. I mean, everybody's there. Probably 25, 30 guys were 4 under or better, it seemed. And yet, I couldn't help but watch. I mean, what is up with the coverage? Are they so starving for a new golf star that you have to do a constant blowjob of Scotty Scheffler? I mean, I'm talking about a major blowjob, Lubie. Yeah, the entire broadcast was a blowjob for Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler could do anything. Now, he's a great player. Nobody would discount that even for a second. Great player. He's playing terrific. He just won the Arnie Palmer last week. It was a first, really, in the sense that you hadn't had really any name players winning PGA events. And you're thinking to yourself, why is that? Because they've all disappeared to the Live Tour, the name players. A good portion of them, anyway, the guys that you can immediately identify. Now you're reaching and you're thinking, hey, maybe Ricky Fowler can get it together. That's your guy. But in general, the PGA has lost a lot of its star power to what has turned out to be a disappearing act, and that is the Live Tour. We asked the question yesterday, where the fuck is Greg Norman? Has anybody seen this guy? Nowhere. But the announcers, I mean, Jim Nantz is losing it. He's hearing footsteps from Iron Eagle, is he not? Eagle's already got the Final Four job. Eagle has already got the Super Bowl the next time it comes to CBS. Nantz is going to be out. And it's only a matter of time. I mean, a matter of short time before Nantz, does he just announce that he's throwing in the towel? Because his golf announcing has gone to shit. I don't even know what the hell he's talking about half the time. And he was involved. He was the main instigator, the main catalyst in this constant blowjob, verbal blowjob of Scotty Scheffler the entire time. And they would say, well, you know what? Scheffler sold and misses a fairway. He hits one into the woods. No, what a clever play by Scotty Scheffler. I tell you what. You would think this guy was Tiger Woods at this point. Then they start, they cut to a shot of the statue of Arnie Palmer last week. And what are they? Oh, he's very much in the same category as Scotty Scheffler. What are we talking about, people? Why is it necessary to do that? Do they have to glorify this guy to the point where you're already sick of him? Because Scheffler, I mean, is somewhat, he might be the nicest guy in the world. He may be a really down-to-earth guy, but he seems to be one of those typical PGA golfers that is completely devoid of personality.
I was gonna say he's like nondescript, isn't he? Like they call him the dentist.
Never says anything. There's no demonstrative action on his part. You wouldn't know if he was happy with the shot or he thought it sucked. Yesterday, he throws his club in the air. He's right on the green. They're 5 feet away. Incredible. So you have no idea what to make of his reactions. He doesn't have much in the way of physical reaction and discernible reaction to any shot that he hits or the situation or the circumstances. I don't even know. Does he? I would assume he's married. Does his wife even come out there on the green when he wins a tournament? I'm not sure. I think, I did see a woman. Maybe they just sent a woman out there and said, here, go hug Scotty Scheffler because we think he's the greatest fucking thing that ever walked the face of the earth. Look, seems like a good guy. Game is definitely on target. I wouldn't bet against him. He's always short priced to win any of these tournaments. I believe he was 550 to 1 to win this one, which is a pretty tall order to pick the winner out of a field that is so highly bunched together after one round of the event. And you have no idea who's going to come out of the pack and win this thing. But if it is Scotty Scheffler, you can assure this. He is going to get one of the. They may even have a naked woman come out and drop to her knees and blow him as they hand them the tournament trophy. Why? I mean, is it just because John Rahm, like I said, has defected and that was it? They couldn't take it anymore. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, where they now have no stars whatsoever on the PGA Tour. They're trying to make one out of Rory. If he wins the tournament, I think that would be good for them. But it does seem odd, especially since you have no idea. Does anybody know who won this Hong Kong tournament on the Live Tour? They just had a tournament in Hong Kong. Does anybody have any idea? Can you identify the winner if you had to pick them out of a lineup? I don't think so.
Nope.
So pretty weird what's going on in the game of golf. But enough already with Scheffler. We know he's good. Okay, Jim? Just shut the fuck up. We know he's good. Every shot doesn't have to have some commentary as if it was the greatest shot that was ever struck by anybody who ever picked up a golf club. Please. I mean, they're going all the way back and showing shots of, well, here it was. It all began here in Scotland. They're like, please, leave me alone already. Just show the tournament. Maybe show a couple of the other guys that are also playing. That would be nice once in a while to see somebody else hit. Because the only time you ever see a shot of somebody else is when they make the shot. You can bet every time if you're betting on, watching TV with your friends, just personally. If they show some nondescript guy that's 3 under par and he's on 15 and he's 50 feet away from the cup, that ball's going in, Lubie. It's going in. They act like it's live, but the shot's already happened, or they wouldn't be showing this guy because he's not Scotty Scheffler at this point.
Exactly.
Now, a big concern, and this has been a topic that people have speculated upon And I'm not sure where it's going, but I think it's headed for a giant bullseye in terms of a heavy duty jackpot, especially for college basketball. 5 games, no less than 5 games, Luby, are under investigation for possible point shaving, betting, fixing type of scandalous stuff. 5 games from this season are now under investigation, including one of a very curious nature here, Libby. 4 of the games involved the Temple University Owls, who had an awful season this year. This came from a column today by the great Phil Mushnick, who's been all over this topic and how it's going to be handled and where it's going to come from. Where is this game fixing going to come from? Because can you buy a key player anymore? Probably not on the college level. You can't just throw a guy a couple of $100 and a sub sandwich and ask him, please miss a couple of free throws today so you can win the game, but don't cover the spread, that kind of thing. I mean, we're talking about Henry Hill, conspiracy theories always involving the mob, the Gambino family, and all of the different stuff that's gone on over the years in college basketball and game fixing and stories of this nature. But this was a curious one, Louis, with no startling news, nothing that would dissuade you from going ahead and just making your normal approach to this ball game. Temple, who was a 2-point underdog, goes from a 2-point underdog to an 8-point underdog on game day.
Yep.
University of Alabama, Birmingham, not exactly a juggernaut or a powerhouse in college basketball, but apparently considered to be on the road, 2-point favorites over a lousy Temple team. The line jumps to 8 with no announcement about a star player missing, any kind of suspensions, any kind of injuries, nothing. Everything was status quo except for the fact that somehow the line changed 6 points on game day. And then Temple goes out and proceeds to lose that ball game 100-72, getting iced in any number of categories that they're normally far more efficient in, including offensive rebounding, which is an effort thing, free throws, they're way off their normal percentage, everything that reeks of a fix. And if you think about it, Luby, where is it going to come from? It's not going to be crime families or bookmakers or big-time gamblers that are trying to influence these games. It might be, and I hate to say this because it really, you talk about a problem that could spiral into something beyond the scope of your wildest imagination with the status of betting these days. It could be coming from the players themselves, simply getting together and saying, hey, we're not making any of this big money. Why don't we throw a couple of ball games? And it looks like that might have been the case. I don't mean to cast aspersions this way without any further investigation. It could be they just played a shit game. But how curious is that? That's kind of like those deals where you see a bunch of Russian money suddenly going in and betting a prop bet on a tennis match of no significance whatsoever, an early prelim round event on the doubles circuit between an unranked team, and somebody has sent in millions of rubles on what the first point of the game is going to be, whether it's going to be a double fault or not. And sure enough, it's a double fault. And opens up investigations, international context. And I don't know that they've come to any conclusions on these things, but it's something that people are watching. What about this, though, Libby? What do you think? Are players now the biggest danger to the sport itself because of the circumstances where you can make yourself a score simply by not trying in a game that you were otherwise going to lose, but you're not sophisticated enough to spread your money around so that the line doesn't jump in some exorbitant fashion like it did and point giant red flags and arrows at the idea that, hey, something's up here and it doesn't look like this game is going to be kosher.
Do you think that players are gambling against themselves because they can control that? Because
yes.
Is that what they think they're doing? Oh, Jesus.
In other words, in the past, if you had, a thing like the Boston College point shaving thing, okay, if you had something like that, the player didn't have the money to bet to profit on this or the wherewithal necessarily to tell other people, hey, I'm going to throw a game and I need you to bet this for me. This was all, somewhat controlled by the people that were looking to fix the game, and they were the ones that were going to profit. And they gave the guy some kind of cash payment, and that's how the player got his money. Now you're thinking there's nobody doing that, but if the players themselves decide that they're going to go make a score and they're going to tell all of their buddies, hey, send it in, that would be the only way that you would see something as stupid as a line movement like that was certain to arouse and raise suspicions that something wasn't on the level in this game. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But that's been one of the big things that you were looking at, saying, when is this going to reach some point of no return And what is going to be the so-called straw that breaks the camel's back, where you have just rampant game fixing going on and not coming from the usual sources or in the usual fashion, but just coming from the players themselves who figure, hey, it's real easy for us to get money down on this game through one source or another, and we're going to throw the game, and we're the only ones that are going to know it. And it may reflect in the odds like that in some kind of fugazi fashion, but nonetheless, very, very curious, this activity. 102, 100 to 72. They lose by 28 points in a game where they originally were 2-point dogs, and somehow that game went off at 8. So something to watch for on a Degenerate Friday. All right, a lot of good stuff going on at the tennis tournament in Indian Wells. That's taken place. My girl Sabalenka got upset. That was kind of ugly, but the men's side looks like it's coming down to just a spectacular bloodbath of the top players in the world. Going to be a lot of fun to follow that. This was a weird one, too. Garrett Cole, I guess, going to be out for a month for the Yankees, at least a month. Doesn't need Tommy John surgery, which is certainly good news for Yankee fans. But how weird was this? I mean, if you were in the Yankees rotation as a new member of the Pinstriper squad, and the manager approached you and said, Aaron Boone comes up to you and says, hey, would you like to be the opening day starter? It looks like Colsey's not going to be able to make it. Would you ever consider saying no to that, Lubie?
Someone said no.
Marcus Stroman, who just became a Yankee this year. And apparently they approached him about being the opening day starter because they realized that Cole wasn't going to be able to make the start. And he said, no, I don't want to fuck with my normal routine.
What?
Would that not be like a giant career distinction to be the opening day starter for the Yankees in any season? This is one of those things the grandkids are on the lap and you say, I started opening day there in 2024. It was great. Full crowd there at Yankee Stadium. Could you ever see yourself saying, I don't want to mess. You know what? I usually I do sit-ups on Wednesday, so I don't want to mess with that. I don't want to fuck with my routine, even though we're still like a couple of weeks away from the opening day. You would think that Stroman could make adjustments, but where does that leave you? I mean, in terms of the perception of Yankee fans and people about your desire to be the man, which seems to be something that you almost have to have inbred in you to be a top-level competitive athlete. Could you see yourself telling Boone, hey, listen, Boney, I'll start that third game. That's where I want to be. Kind of weird, huh?
That's weird.
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, I don't, like, what's the point? Didn't he just make a ton of money? Isn't that the goal? Like, if you're not starting, it's because someone's better, but don't you want to be like, I don't understand.
Don't you want to be the man? That's for the Yankees, no less. It isn't like, some schlep team like the Twins came up to him and said, hey, listen, you want to start opening day? And go, nah, fuck it. I don't feel like doing that. There's no fanfare with opening day here. Like 6,000 people are going to come in under the snow and watch this fucking thing. I don't want to start. But very strange. Yeah. Stroman saying, I don't want to mess with my routine. How locked into a routine could you be at this point? Where it's going to matter if you move up 2 days from your proposed first start of the season. And if it involved the distinction of being the Yankees opening day starter in 2024, a year where people are thinking, at least Yankee fans are optimistic they're going to somehow bounce back miraculously and have a real good season, even though the AL East is a killer division at this stage. And watch out, don't sleep again on the Orioles. Louis, can they do it again? Was that a one-time flash in the pan thing? No, they improved their team even from last season when they were really good. So no certainty that the Yankees make it back. You would think that if you just became a Yankee, the last thing on earth you would want to do is turn down an assignment that is, it has every appearance of being a great honor and distinction. And you're telling them, hey, listen, I don't want to fuck with my routine. You know what? I get my beauty nap on that morning, and I'm sleeping. I'm sorry. So very, very strange. A lot of different things happening all around the board there in the world of sports, the sports landscape. But watch out, Louis. Players fixing games without the influence from the outside. Could that be the thing that ends up? A lot of people think gambling was going to be the ruination of sport as we know it, even though for our money it's been a giant enhancement. But nonetheless, very curious. 5 games under investigation, including that one, which really does have the stench of cow manure surrounding it, doesn't it? 100 to 72. The line changes 6 points for no apparent reason the day of the game, and then Temple goes out there and lays an egg. Incredible. All right, we have to run. Thanks so much for being with us. I hope you guys had a great week and looking forward to a great weekend. We'll join you again on Monday. It's always a pleasure being with you here for a very dapper-looking Mike Lubie. I like the shirt. I'm Jeff DeForest. Thanks for tuning in to today's edition here on Caffeine TV and NoFilter.net. And stop with the blowjob of Scotty Scheffler of the Morning Briefing.